The Haunted Mansion video game was a more exact approach to the creepy yet funny yet dark atmosphere from the ride. This video game incorporates almost all of the characters from the original ride, except for a couple that do not exist. Today we'll talk about a brave little assistant caretaker that ventures inside the dark corners of the gargantuan decayed estate here in Stories from the Mansion. Zeke Holloway had a tragic backstory. Born during the Civil War, he loses his father in battle and loses her mother while she attempted to escape the South. Raised as an orphan, Zeke gets a number of odd jobs that help him get through, but his true passion, as he mentions it, is becoming a writer, which by the time he arrives at the mansion, he hasn't achieved. The quiet solitude of the estate is what convinces Zeke to respond to an ad in a newspaper announcing the well-paid job of an assistant caretaker at an abandoned mansion at the end of New Orleans. But as Zeke enters the mansion, he does not discover the quiet solitude he wanted, but a group of spirits who haunt him into dismay. Once recovered, Zeke meets Madame Leota, who explains to him that the abandoned house has been taken by evil spirits and dark magic summoned by Atticus Thorne from the Order of the Shadows, an ancient organization that existed years before the mansion was ever built.
Years have passed since our defeat, but we do not sleep yet, and the plague has proven quite effective at reducing the Brotherhood's numbers. Folly it was to believe we were no longer a threat and to lower their defenses. For as the shadows crawl eastward from the setting sun, so too does the reach of the Order, extending to encircle the globe.
The energy in the house attracted this High Conjurer to elaborate his evil scheme of capturing the Beacon of Souls and the Soul Gems to use its powers to suck the life out of the living and use the energy to control the world of the dead and the living as well. Zeke ventures into many rooms of the house to capture each and every of the 999 happy haunts, and also lights up the rooms so that the forces of Atticus Thorne do not disturb the good ghosts that live there. Some of the ghosts have fragments of death certificates which he puts together to give to some main ghosts that in return hand Zeke one of the gems. Once all of these have been captured, he gets a ring that allows him to open a secret passageway hidden in the foyer. This leads him to the stretching room. Which takes him to a chamber where Atticus Thorne, now turned into a giant worm, attacks Zeke and takes away the gems, forcing him to use Leota as a force canalizer. Zeke and Leota win eventually, releasing the 999 souls from their confinement and returning light to the mansion. The events that occurred there inspired him to write a novel, which is read and edited by the good ghosts. Zeke Holloway is not the caretaker from the Haunted Mansion ride, since that one appears as a ghost in the Winter Garden.
Well, the good news is that the flowers aren't dead. But the bad news is that nobody is alive to appreciate it.
His character looks a lot like Ichabod Crane from Sleepy Hollow. The Haunted Mansion video game is very well worth playing, and is just an amazing way to explore more rooms than the ones the ride has. The game has nothing to do with the movie, and is more linked to the ride, and I definitely love the video game story more than the 2003's film story. One final note is that the video game makes it clear the Haunted Mansion has no living inhabitants by the end of the Civil War.
As a young man living in Louisiana after the Civil War.
Something that contradicts many of the fanfictions which place Master Gracie and some other owners after the Civil War. But what do you think? Do you have any Ezekiel Holloway stories? Be sure to write them for me. That is all for now. Rest in peace, and I'll see you all a little later.